Come on, join us. It's the Empower Talk. Empower Show. The Empower Show.
Welcome everyone to the Empower Talk podcast. I'm so excited to be with you to talk about awareness. Awareness has been such an issue and a challenge for many leaders because it really helps us to recognize and to stay on point with everything that we're supposed to do without becoming easily distracted. I've been sharing for the last few episodes from the book entitled Finding Flow in Empty Places. Finding Flow in Empty Places. Here's something that I want to just share with you out of that book. Awareness keeps us centered, engaged, and focused on what we really need to accomplish. But until we address our overscheduled, our overpopulated lives, overwork, and exhaustion, will continue to adversely impact our ability to focus on what is truly important. This is the ministry. This is the strength of awareness, because sometimes there are so many things happening all at the same time, or various different moments in our life, that we've really got to practice what to do to remain focused on the thing that is important. And the thing that's important is fueling our awareness, fueling our steadfastness to really recognize and see where we're going and to stay on point no matter what happens to us or no matter what challenges us. So awareness keeps us centered. With awareness, then, we know that we're making progress. We know that we're advancing because we have set certain boundaries and certain schedules in place to allow us to make sure that no matter what we do, out of the plethora of things that we're called to do, the amount of tasks and different initiatives and different challenges that we try to face, awareness keeps us centered on the important thing. Do the important things first, because we can become so easily distracted by other things that really don't get us to achieve what it is that we need to achieve. So awareness, if it does anything else, it keeps us centered. How important is it for us as leaders, business entrepreneurs, just to stay focused and to stay centered? Because the current of life, the current of business, the tide of success, the tide of work always seems to run up against us. And if we're not sure that we're going to be centered on something, then we'll continue to respond to things that really don't get us in the direction that we need to go into. We need to stay centered. We need to stay focused. We need to stay engaged. If we're ever going to accomplish any of the goals or dreams that we have in place, there are so many things that surround or play supporting roles in helping us to be successful, and awareness is one of them. Finding flow in empty places puts an emphasis on awareness and how we stay current and how we stay focused on the things that are important. So then finding flow recognizes how easily the tide of momentum can change if we're not conscious of it. If we're not really plugged into and tapped into every day, if we're not reminding ourselves every day what is key and what is important, if we're not aware of the fact that we're being non-successful, if we're not aware of the things that are happening around us, then we can be active and we can be overactive, but then all of that really leads to being overwhelmed. And if we become overwhelmed, then we're not really quite sure how to evaluate what our focus is. So we have to be conscious of it. Awareness keeps us conscious. It keeps us centered, and it keeps us conscious, and it keeps us establishing the same priorities every day. Every day that we exist, we remind ourselves what our why is. One of the most important factors of our lives is really the why. We have to always remember the why. We spend a lot of time on the what and the how and the where and the who, but it's really the why. The awareness of why we're doing the things that we're doing that really keeps us centered and really keeps us focused. Part of being able to effectively manage momentum is the ability to quickly recognize the seasons and the times when we're most creative and productive. Awareness. We know ourselves better than anyone else does. And even though we can psychoanalyze ourselves and evaluate and even receive feedback from others about who we are, you and I, we know ourselves better than anyone else. It is that consciousness of who we are and the why we are that really helps us to be more positive and to achieve the kinds of things that we need to achieve. And so finding flow wants to emphasize that while you're doing all the other things, while we're doing all the busy things and the important things, we cannot neglect awareness because it keeps us centered and it keeps us focused. We need to know when we're productive and when we're not. This is awareness. We need to know when we've hit a low, and we need to also recognize and celebrate and enjoy when we hit highs. But sometimes if we miss those moments or we're not aware of where we are, all it does is lead to more frustration and more pushback and more non-production, and that does not help us in terms of our confidence or our ability to make better decisions. And so awareness is such a key factor in all of us so that we can stay on point with everything that we're doing. We have to recognize our challenges. We have to mobilize quickly to solve them. We have to look at our diverse set of skills in everything that we do. We have a whole lot of tools and skills that we need. But the thing that keeps us on point, the thing that keeps us moving in the direction of vision, moving in the direction of values, moving in the direction of our mission and our purpose, is this one skill called awareness that does not allow us to waste time following or chasing things that do not add to the outcome or the effectiveness of who we are. It makes us stop and think and make calculated and educated choices about the things that we accept or the things that we decline. Awareness is so key because it helps us not only to find flow, it helps us to come out of those empty places or those non-productive places that we often find ourselves in. And if we can begin to always ask ourselves, then what is the purpose of this? Sometimes before we accept a challenge, or before we accept an appointment, or before we accept an invitation, is to really evaluate, how is this going to benefit me? Sometimes when you're in a low place, just to get a call or just to be invited or just to be thought of is such a thrilling experience that sometimes we fail to ask ourselves the question as to what is this going to produce? Awareness makes us conscious of everything that we do. It makes us aware of who we are because we don't have unlimited time. We don't have unlimited resources. We don't have unlimited strength. And so we have to measure ourselves if we're going to ever be effective to achieve the things that we believe we need to achieve. When awareness is not in place, when our awareness is not awake, when we're unconscious to our awareness, then we'll find ourselves involved in things that are busy, that might be profitable, but will not bring us to a place of satisfaction, to a place of peace, or even to a place of productivity. And so finding flow wants to make sure that when the seasons are there and the times are there that we are productive, we need to know that. There are certain things that we have to know. There's certain things that we have to recognize. Sometimes things hit us and it moves us in the wrong direction and it depletes us, and sometimes we have setbacks and we have things that don't work out. But to be conscious of the fact that this is happening will allow us to rebound quickly, to resolve things quicker, and to overcome things. Sometimes there are hurts and disappointments that enter into all of our lives, really, and it does not help us to sit there too long. What awareness does is catch that quickly. It detects it quickly, and it also suggests that this is not a place that we need to stay in, but we need to fight our way out. It's a fight every day. But when we hit lows or when we hit empty places, when we want to find our flow again, what awareness does is it makes us conscious of the fact of where we are, and then it doubles back to help us to be more productive in areas that we know we need to come out of. And so it is an easy as well as extremely difficult process to critically dissect ourselves and then offer any kind of viable practical solution. We lose the ability to do that. We get involved in the doing. We get involved in the producing, and we get involved in the making things happen. That oftentimes we lose the energy to really make the decision about whether this is the right thing for me. Awareness really helps us to do this. And if we can ask ourselves before we engage, before we accept a responsibility, before we accept an assignment, before we accept another direction, if we can ask ourselves, how is this going to profit what my vision, my values, and what my purpose is really all about. It will help us save so much time rather than scrambling and trying to rebound from things that really have not been productive because we did not ask ourselves the question in the beginning, the why. How is this going to benefit? And it's the awareness that helps us to do that. It is often easier, to be critical than it is to be creative. This is what awareness does for us. It helps us to know where we are. And sometimes you can be in any particular season and really honestly ask yourself the question, where am I? Oftentimes when you dwell there too long, we really sink into those kind of diminishing feelings about not having accomplished anything. Now we have, and we've made progress, and we've achieved, and we're checking the boxes of things that we have done successfully. But if we're not aware of the things that impede us or impact us, we can sit in a space too long trying to figure out how in the world do we get here. Awareness must come alive. And awareness must be reminded. It's not something that's going to happen automatically, but awareness must be reminded. We remind ourselves every day that you're strong enough to do this, you're creative enough to do this, you are inspirational enough to do this, you have the skill sets, you have the preparation, you've paid the price to be where you are. So let awareness rule us, let awareness run our lives, because awareness has the only objective to make us conscious, to make us centered, so that everything we do will be aligned with where we're going, and that we're not wasting time being non-productive, being distracted, or simply being unaware of where we are. I hope this helps somebody. This episode is just to say, wake up your awareness and always ask yourself the question, where do we go from here? Finding flow in empty places always wants to push us to get to somewhere greater. But in order to overcome those areas, in order to be successful, in order to climb the mountain, we have to navigate all the challenges, the critical decisions along the way, to make sure that our aim and our objectives have always been met. And so be aware, wake up, make your awareness conscious, make your awareness come alive, and continually challenge yourself with what is this going to produce, and how is this going to make me a better person, and how is this going to help me to succeed in any area of a life, in any area of our lives. And so my challenge to you today is keep asking yourself the question, keep being aware of where you are at different seasons, and make the right choices that will only bring you to the conclusion that you've already decided. I trust this has helped someone. Join me again here on the EMPOWERTalk podcast. It's been my pleasure to be with you. See you next time.